Football calendars leave no margin for error, and this week the margin shrank when Frenkie de Jong was ruled unavailable for the upcoming World Cup qualifier through a decision that prioritised caution over instant return. The story began in a 1-1 draw with Poland where de Jong felt discomfort and came off early, then returned to Barcelona for medical checks that revealed a gluteal strain. It is not being described as catastrophic, but the message from Netherlands coach Ronald Koeman was clear. There is nothing heroic about risking a player now when the cost could be far greater later. That insistence on protection is the first headline because it reframes the conversation. This is not just one match, it is a management decision that links domestic schedules, international fixtures and player welfare in a single painful knot. When a player of de Jong's profile is absent, the impact is immediate and architectural. He is not only a starter, his willingness to carry the ball from deep, to drift into half spaces and to connect the defensive block with the attack gives both Barcelona and the Netherlands a structural advantage en masse. Opponents plan to limit those runs. Teammates enjoy the spaces movement creates. Remove that motion and you remove a trigger for an entire system. That means coaches must decide whether to slot in someone who can try to replicate those progressive carries or to change the blueprint, move the ball faster, rely more on flank switches, or ask a deeper pivot to anchor while other players push forward differently. Each option brings trade-offs. A like-for-like replacement may keep shape but not the same quality of dynamic movement, while a tactical shift alters roles for multiple players and requires time to settle. The practical ripple effects are just as important. Minutes will be redistributed and players who have been waiting for a chance might suddenly find themselves tested in a high-pressure moment. For Barcelona, this is an early season stress test of rotation and resilience. For the Netherlands, it is a mid-window puzzle about identity and control. Medical teams are also in the spotlight. They must balance rest, treatment and graded return so that a short absence does not become a recurring problem. That technical judgment will shape whether de Jong's pause is a brief cautionary measure or the start of a longer management plan designed to preserve him across a crowded calendar. There is also a human dimension. When a linchpin is paused, teammates must absorb responsibility without becoming overcautious. Coaches must communicate clearly, assign simple tasks, monitor minutes, and protect confidence. Young players thrust into the breach can either seize the moment or crumble under the weight of expectation. Performance in these windows often says more about preparation and temperament than about raw talent. Managers will watch training closely in the next 48 to 72 hours to assess fitness, sharpness and readiness. Those sessions will decide whether the team picks a direct substitute or experiments with a strategic reshuffle. What we should watch for now are a handful of concrete signals, the training footage that hints at who looks comfortable in the role, lineups named ahead of the qualifier that reveal tactical intent, and any medical bulletins that specify recovery markers. If the absence remains short and the player is reintegrated with a staged plan, both Barcelona and the Netherlands can absorb the shock and move on. If the strain lingers, however, we may see more substantial midterm changes, different rotation logic at club level, and a national team that adapts its tempo and build up in response. Ultimately, the decision to sit a world-class midfielder is a small, responsible act with potentially large consequences. It tells us which value comes first in elite football right now, immediate gain or long-term availability. For fans, the news is mixed. Relief that the problem is not reportedly severe, and frustration that a pivotal player will be absent when his influence is most wanted. For coaches, the news is practical. Adapt quickly, protect assets carefully, and use the next matches to test the squad's depth. In the tight windows of modern football, such prudence can be the difference between short-term headlines and season-long success. And over the next days we will find out whether this pause becomes a footnote or a turning point.